Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Crippled Avengers, an old-school Hong Kong kung fu flick from 1978 that was produced by the Shaw Brothers. It was directed by Chang Cheh and stars multiple members of the Venom Mob. Its alternate title is The Return of the Five Deadly Venoms, but this is not a sequel to Five Deadly Venoms. So, Tian-du, styled the Black Tiger, is renowned for his skill in tiger-style kung fu, but has also accrued a rather poor reputation for his tyranny and cruelty, to the extent the local populace are terrified to speak out against him. When he is absent one day, his estate is attacked by members of an enemy clan, who take out their hatred on his wife and young son, Chang. Tian-du returns to find his wife dead and her legs cut off. And then Chang, his son, has both of his arms dismembered. So it's pretty crazy stuff, this opening scene. Although he murders the assailants, the incident only fuels his cruelty. He later has prosthetic arms fitted for Chang, and for the next several years trains and passes his techniques onto him. Now, based on that plot synopsis, you might think that this warlord would develop into being our protagonist of the film. Maybe changes his ways along the way, him and his son, overcome obstacles, whatever. And his son is the first person in the film to lose limbs. Crippled Avengers, right? That's not the case, though. This guy and his son are the bad guys, okay? And they enjoy taking other people's limbs or disabling them instead of outright killing them. And our protagonists are actually four other men that are introduced throughout the first half of the film who are injured by this evil warlord and or his son. They become friends, learn some kung fu, and then come after him with help from an old teacher. So let's state the obvious here. The plot is kind of ridiculous, and it's pretty ridiculous right from the start. So the tone of the film does veer into, I guess, slightly goofy territory. And the opening act, like, for example, has some bloody violence, like dismemberments and other afflictions and stuff, but those moments are portrayed in kind of a cartoonish way, which makes them, I guess, more chuckle-worthy and fun instead of being disturbing. Now, thankfully, the premise is so nutty that it earns a certain level of entertainment value, like, throughout the entirety of the film. Even if the story is quite predictable during the second half. You could probably predict where this thing's going by the midpoint. But it's a little bit different. Has a little bit of a niche subplot or premise involving these crippled guys. So it keeps you in it. Now, our main protagonists are a blind dude, a deaf mute, a man with no legs, and a mentally handicapped guy. And these are our Crippled Avengers, all right? Now, this provides for some unusual fights, because each character needs to develop a skill set to compensate for their own disability. Now, of course, their solutions are fairly unrealistic, but the concept is fun to watch. Most ironically, there are lots of acrobatic moments in this film, despite the aforementioned disabilities. Now, there's a good sword versus meteor hammer fight early on that's a highlight. The training scenes are all pretty cool. There's a wheel of fire, as I would call it. They make newly made body parts out of, metal and stuff like that. There's a sweet scene involving metal hoops that showcases some legit athleticism. I like that training scene. That was pretty sweet. One thing I very much enjoyed was that the bad guys, once they identify who's coming after them for revenge, they try to think of some interesting strategies to use our heroes' disabilities against them. There are a few key moments that pop up, and I won't spoil those for you, but those are some pretty interesting tactics that show up. So, even though you think that they've solved or covered up their weaknesses during the training sequences, they do need to overcome them when confronting the villains yet again. And then the big finale is quite lengthy and satisfying. So, Crippled Avengers, if you like the premise and you're into old-school kung fu flicks, this is an easy recommendation for you. It's currently available streaming on YouTube and Amazon. It's also available in that crazy Blu-ray box set, Shawscope Volume 1 from Arrow Video. And as always, folks, I'll see you next time.